America. It's 6:06 a.m. You're listening to America's Voice Now. My name is Michael Evans. I'll be your host for this morning. We have a 3-hour show today. I appreciate you getting up bright and early, even if you're laying in bed, maybe just staring at the ceiling, listening to your radio, sitting maybe at the table having some coffee, having nice eggs and juicy sausages, wishing I was there. No such luck. I'm here with black coffee.
And a donut.
And a donut. And we are going to have an interesting show for you this morning. We're going to be joined at our 7 to 8 o'clock hour, and we are going to be joined by Sherry Willis. She is and we've had her on the show before, but during the week. So for those of you who are weekend listeners, this is an opportunity for you to hear about a great product which she's invented. She is a local gal, and she's created a product called the Half Pint Homestead. And so I want to make sure that we give a chance for you to hear what this is all about. It's a fodder kit that you can literally create in your living room. And with this device, you can feed your chickens, your rabbits. You can feed yourself. You can feed... I mean, she's got a unit that is so productive that you can grow enough fodder to feed a cow and a nursing calf in your living room. You heard me. So stick with us from the 7 to 8 o'clock hour for that. At 8 o'clock, Marjorie Wildcraft will be here. Marjorie is... she is probably one of the foremost experts and recognized and renowned authors and creators of the self-reliance and sustainable living movement. If you are not familiar with what she's all about, she is been featured on things such as the Organic Consumers Association, the Permaculture Activist, Natural News, literally hundreds of television and radio programs. She has a set of DVDs out there. And she has been on radio programs like Coast to Coast AM with George Noory, Gardening Naturally, The Power Hour with Joyce Riley, The Survival Podcast, The Easy Organic Gardeners Show, Dr. Prepper Radio, and hosts and tons and tons. Liberty Watch Radio. I mean, in print, she's been in newspapers and magazines, and she's done speaking engagements around the country. If you haven't heard Marjorie Wildcraft, you owe it to yourself to do so because she has a great program. And I think you'll find her information enlightening and educational. We are all about self-reliance and sustainable living. And we are for one specific reason. Because what we have to recognize is that our government has basically failed us as a body, and we realize that our currency is being devalued, our nation is sliding into the, and I dare say we're not in the early steps of tyranny, folks. We are midway down the glorious path to tyranny. Not every one of you will agree with me on that. That's fine. I expect you to, if you disagree, do your own due diligence, do your own homework, and evaluate that and those facts for themselves. And then come to a conclusion. Don't take my word for it, and don't take anyone else's word for it. Do your own homework. Then, when you have enough information, you can create your own informed decisions based upon the information which you've gathered. And I strongly encourage you to read that which you already believe, to encourage your own conscience and your own knowledge. But I also encourage you to read that of your opposing viewpoint, because you occasionally have to check to make sure that you're not drinking your own Kool-Aid. When you do drink your own Kool-Aid, you turn into something awful. You know what that is? That's called an ideologue. And what that means is essentially you have lost the capacity to be objective. And you are no longer looking for truth. You are now looking for justification for your own bias. And that's a big difference. So I strongly encourage you to do your own reading, and reading is the best way. Don't sit and watch YouTube videos. I mean, they're educational and so forth, but you have to read. And you have to read what comes from the wisdom of the ages, not some pop culture crap. Don't read psychological self-help books. They're probably a waste of time. With all due respect, you can get more information by simply sitting down and reading what the great minds of there's a series of books out there called Great Minds of the Western World. Now, there are a few hundred titles in the group. I don't recommend them all. But I do recommend that you read something like John Locke. You know, John Locke was probably one of the most prolific and one of the best writers that we had here in the United States, or I should say in the Western world, because he wasn't from the United States. He was European. He was English. But you know, when you read what are great philosophical thinkers, and when I say philosophical thinkers, I'm not talking about Aristotle and those guys. There's nothing wrong with reading that, but some of their concepts didn't encompass the principles of liberty and the individual rights of man. What I want you to read is things like John Locke, where he clearly, in Blackstone. If you get anything by Blackstone, by the way, we still use Blackstone's legal commentaries. We still use Blackstone's law dictionary. Blackstone was one of the founders of the idea, or I shouldn't say founder. He was one of the unveilers of the plan of natural man and our ability and our rights that are inherent and God-given and unalienable, part of the plan of nature. They are as immutable a fact as are the sun and moon. Now, you know, man will try to convince you that they're not, because those people have a desire to control you. But the simple truth is this. Each living being, whether they live in the United States or they live somewhere else, we all have a natural set of rights that are given to us by nature. By the way, rights come with duties.
And responsibilities.
Make no mistake. Sorry, I apologize. Your mic wasn't on. And responsibilities, said Mike. Make no mistake about it, that your duties and your responsibilities that are part of your natural God-given rights must be exercised and must be observed in order for your rights to continue to exist. I'm going to give you an example. We all know, and it's inherent upon us to know this, we know this from birth, that it's wrong to hurt someone else physically in something other than a self-defense environment. How do we know that? Well, you knew that when you were a little girl and you reached over and you took Cindy's doll from her, and you were very little, and Cindy cried, you recognized that that was bad. When you were a little boy, and you and Bobby were sitting outside in the sandbox, and you were playing with Tonka trucks, and you reached over and took Tommy's Tonka truck and bonked him over the head, Tommy cried. And it became immediately apparent to you, even in your infancy, that that was wrong. Now, those who didn't recognize it was wrong are now known as sociopaths. We have a world full of those folks, by the way.
Is that me?
Some, perhaps. I don't know. This is Mike, by the way. He's a friend of mine. And so I guess my point to you is this. We inherently know that some things are wrong. We know it's wrong to murder. We know it's wrong to steal from another. We know that it is wrong to hurt or injure another. We know that it is wrong to injure or take someone else's property that does not belong to us. With those rights of your life, your liberty, and your pursuit of those things which, and I don't, that word happiness is often misconstrued. I think what our founders were talking about were the things that make us happy, which is the right to property, the right to own it, the right to sell it, the right to work and create and retain the fruits of our labor. All right? That is happiness. Creating a life and a lifestyle for yourself and your immediate family that you can then pass on to future progeny.
That's the pursuit of happiness, not necessarily
happiness
the
itself.
Attainment of happiness.
Right. You have the right to pursue happiness in whatever makes you happy, as long as it doesn't affect someone else in their life, liberty, or pursuit of happiness. So your pursuit of happiness cannot include you taking something that doesn't belong to you from someone else, because now you have affected their independent individual rights. And so the simple process is this: live your life, do the best things that you can to make sure that you are following the plan that nature and God have laid out for us, which is to be the best that we can be at whatever we are, but also adhere to the duties that go along with maintaining and containing those rights. Here's an example. If you commit a murder wantonly and willfully for we're not talking about self-defense here, but because someone has something you want and you take it, and so he won't spill the beans and rat on you, you kill them, then you have forfeited your own right to life. It's as simple as that. This is not something that I have created, or I'm just pointing to immutable truth. I mean, I'm not making it up. These are laws which have existed in nature for all of man's history. And with those rights and with those rights that you have as a sovereign individual in the eyes of God and nature, you have responsibilities that go with those. So when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about what you can do to exercise your rights, but also what you need to do to make sure that you are effectively keeping your rights in good standing. Okay? Because it's important that you do that as well. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about those things and we'll take your calls. Hang on a minute. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Sheila Murphy, store manager at Big Lots. We're located in the Southern Hills Shopping Center in West Plains, Missouri. Southern Hills is home to the best shopping establishment in South Central Missouri. Come visit some of your favorite department stores, and if a full day of shopping is on your list, there are also plenty of great places to eat when you get hungry. And they're all within walking distance. Southern Hills is the largest shopping center in the area and has everything you will be looking for. No need to leave West Plains. Stay local and shop local with Southern Hills Shopping Center. Proud to serve West Plains and the surrounding communities.
It's a call and make your voice heard on the biggest issues making headlines today, or on absolutely anything in your head. Every call I get goes on the air totally unscreened. It's unpredictable and uncensored, and you'll never know what to expect. Anything can and will happen on the next Alan Combs Show.
And that's who you can catch every weeknight, 9 till midnight. The Alan Combs Show on the Ozarks Best News Talk, 107.1 The Point, Monday through Friday.
Well, that was a painless commercial break. I mean, our idea here is to make those as brief but effective as possible, right? By the way, if you'd like to sponsor this show, we are always looking for new sponsors. We can have you sponsor a segment. While we're talking about commercials here, we have the ability for you to sponsor segments, commercials, stories, sections of the show, an entire show, and frankly, to be perfectly blunt, we could use your support, your financial support, but it comes with some benefits, which is that we advertise your business on our show. Those folks who do advertise, like the Battery Station and Mary over at Chantilly's Artisan Bakery and Jason over at Wits End Classic Barbershop, those guys get an enormous amount of business that comes from our program. Ozark Mountain Self-Reliance and West Plains Pawn. Those guys really see quite an effective increase in their business and the traffic that comes through their door because we advertise their programs here, and we encourage our folks who are listeners to go and visit them, and then also when they go there, make sure that they say, hey, we came here from America's Voice Now. By the way, before we get into too much deeper this morning, I do want to mention that there are 2 classes which you can still participate in this morning. One is a concealed carry class, and that will be occurring here in West Plains. That starts at 9 o'clock, and the cost is $50 if you bring your own pistol and ammo, and $60 if you use their pistols and ammo. wow, folks, how can you beat that? You can basically rent the gun and ammo for $10 for the day, get your concealed carry permit, and you're off and running. So if that is something that you would like to participate in this morning, you'll have to be here in West Plains at 9 o'clock. And it's going to be actually held, the class portion, because you have to, there's two parts to it. There's class portion, and then there's an actual range portion. The class portion will be held here in West Plains, and it's right on Washington Avenue, where the hospital has a foundation office. It's very near the battery station and the Ozarks Osby there, small business incubator. And that class will begin at 9, and then from there you'll go out to a range where you'll actually do the shooting portion. This gentleman is certified in every county in the state of Missouri, and in some multiple states as well. I know he travels around and does an enormous amount of concealed carry work.
And people need to step up, and they need to take responsibility for their own protection, because there is not a cop going to be standing there when you need one. As a matter of fact, in most cases, he's going to be a lot longer away than you think. And if you live in a rural area, magnify that times 10 or 15.
Right.
I know.
Right. By the way, the phone number, if you want to call for information and directions on that, is 270-1053. That's 417-270-1053. By calling there, you'll be able to get information about where and so forth and so on. The only thing you need to bring is a pen and maybe a pad, and bring your body, bring your $50 or $60, and go there and take that class. I strongly encourage you to get your concealed carry permit. We do know that. I'm going to give you a perfect example. When that kid went and shot up that Newtown school, they have done a complete evaluation now from beginning to end. From the time he kicked the door in to the time he shoved that gun in his mouth and pulled the trigger, less than 5 minutes went by.
The cops never even had a chance of getting there.
No, less than 5 minutes. Folks, the cops can't get to you if you live out on K Highway. I mean, in 5 minutes. It's just the reality of it. So, never be complacent to sit and think that 911 is going to be your saving grace. More often than not, law enforcement, unfortunately, is reactive, not proactive in that regard. Because, there's no such thing as pre-crime, and there's no way to determine what someone's intent is. So we can't expect it to be. What we can do is be self-reliant and self-sufficient to the point where we're making sure that we're doing the things that we need to do for ourselves. Take this concealed carry class, or today also you can take our reloading class. Now, the cost on that class is $100. It's an all-day program, and that's going to be held at 1378 Bill Verdon Boulevard, which is right next to Heroes Coffee. If you continue down Broadway, you'll get there. You'll go past the Head Start building, and like you're going to go out towards 63 South. Just before the Catholic Church, you'll see a strip store on your left. It's called the Eastgate Village, and you'll be able to pull in there, and all the way on the right side is a meeting room, and that's where that class will take place. It runs from 9 o'clock until, I guess, 4 or 5. I'm not quite sure what the hours are actually. The end is depending on how fast you all learn.
And it's a lot of fun, and for guys that shoot especially, or for people who shoot, you need to learn how to roll your own, because you'll save a lot of money. Right. And it also helps you to understand the mechanics, of what happens. When you actually pull the trigger and the hammer falls, it helps you to understand the mechanics of what's going on. Makes you a better shooter. Good stuff.
Well, one other side to that, too, is that, if you have a favorite rifle or a favorite pistol, you can build a custom load for that gun with bullet weight and grain weight of powder and so forth and so on that actually makes that, even a mediocre rifle, perform like a custom one-off, because rifles are like people. They have a personality, and every barrel is different. And, the lands and grooves inside that barrel, some respond to a lighter weight bullet, some respond better to a heavier weight bullet. Depends on the twist rate in the barrel and all kinds of things.
Now, are they going to find all of this out at the class?
Yeah.
All right.
The other side of this thing is that, the type of powder you use, whether it's faster burning or slower burning, and all these other issues that kind of go into the customization. You know what? Reloading gives you the ability to build your own handmade suit. Think of it that way, right? You can go to a tailor and he can make you a suit, or you can go to Kmart and you can buy one that doesn't really fit you very well, but it does the job. Well, commercial ammo is like a Kmart suit. It does the job, but it doesn't fit you very well. On the other hand, you can go out and you can, go to a custom tailor who will measure your particular leg length, and he'll measure your shoulders and from where your elbow bends to your wrist and where that suit should hang and how it should drape over you. And when he makes that suit for you, it fits you like a glove because it was made for you. Well, reloading is the same thing. You can make a load for an individual rifle, and that rifle will perform consistently and accurately every single time.
Well, when I first started reloading, like a zillion years ago, because I'm older than dirt, the ability to manufacture your own ammunition at that time was largely based on the fact that ammunition was getting so expensive. So everybody was loading their own. That and some of the older calibers were not being loaded by the commercial people. And so that's another benefit, is that if you have one of the older guns that fires a cartridge that is not commonly available,
right?
You can load your own ammunition,
or is commonly available, but the cost is so high. I'll give an example. Like you take a 264, right?
Oh yeah.
Or a caliber 257 Roberts,
yeah.
Right? These are calibers that are great calibers, but go out and buy a box of that ammo, and you're looking at $1 to $2 a crack. Right,
or more than that now. It's
and
crazy.
Maybe
right
now I don't even know. I mean, I've been out of the ammo game for a long time, but I mean, it used to be that you were talking a significant amount of money to fire one round. Now with the ammo shortages, some of that may not even be available.
And it's good to get into that clan of people anyway, because I found out that
bingo,
everybody has a little different something that they do,
right?
And you start circulating within that group of people and sharing stuff. And
well, you know what the benefit is of this, and working with cooperatives and other groups like that. That's, ladies and gentlemen, that is real community organization, not the kind that Obama practiced, which was biased and slanted towards a political agenda.
No, wait a minute. We organize in order to get the government to give us money.
That's what their organization skills amount to. And when I say community organization, I'm talking about knowing, hey, you know what? Bob is really good with diesel mechanics. Charlie is great as an engineer. Sam is an excellent plumber. Cindy makes these quilts and has the capability to sew like nobody's business. Betty is great with math, and she's very good with numbers, and she's able to keep our accounting books. You can work within your own community in so many different ways that most people have no concept or understanding of. And take that knowledge. Let me tell you something about local money spent. When you spend $1 locally, it recycles 7 to 12 times.
In this community?
In this community.
Wow.
When you spend money at Walmart, it leaves the community never to return.
Plus, you got to go to Walmart, and then there's people walking around dressed inappropriately, and I didn't say that, did I?
Plus, you have to feel like you're one of the people from Walmart.
Oh my gosh, have you ever seen that website?
Oh my goodness, yeah, I have. The people from Walmart.
Oh my god.
I hope I'm never featured in one of those. I have a face made for radio. I just never want to be caught live on a People of Walmart video.
Too many plumbers walking around.
Too many plumbers. There's a lot of. You need, a guy who was a professional spackler could do well at Walmart.
Say no to crack. That's all I can say. Say no to crack.
You know what that is? That's from all these new pants that are really supposed to be low cut on your hips. Which I don't know. Anyway. I don't know that we need to go there, and we've only got 5 seconds to do it. So,
hey, are those guys at that reloading class? Are they going to talk about cast bullets too?
They'll talk about whatever the topic is, but we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll answer that question.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. More fighting words from Kim Jong-un and North Korea, which now says it's entered a state of war with South Korea.
His generals are now, we're told, simply waiting for the order to fire on American bases in Japan and South Korea. No one knows whether these threats are empty or genuine, but governments around the world will be wondering whether now is the time to take Mr. Kim at his word.
Mark Stone with Fox Sister Network Sky News. Moscow even weighing in, urging restraint. Holiday greetings from the president in his weekly address.
In the midst of all our busy and noisy lives, these holy days afford us the precious opportunity to slow down and spend some quiet moments in prayer and reflection.
In the GOP address, Nebraska Congressman Terry Lee calling for the approval of the proposed Keystone XL pipeline from Canada to Texas refineries. Fox News, we report, you decide.
Thanks to Jason over at Wits End Classic Barbershop for sponsoring our phone lines. You can call our Wits End Classic Barbershop hotline, and you can get over there and get yourself shaving a haircut. 2 bits. Well, a little bit more than 2 bits. Thanks to our friends over at Pizza Hut as well. On Porter Wagoner Boulevard, they have an outstanding lunch special, and on Tuesday nights, they have Kids Eat Free. Children under 12 eat for free. They're on Porter Wagoner Boulevard in West Plains. Make sure you visit Pizza Hut. Our friends at the Battery Station, 303 Washington Avenue at batterystation.com. You can also reach them via telephone at 257-7799. Folks over at West Plains Pawn and Gun. Kenny's a friend of ours and a great supporter of our program. 417-256-3000, located about a mile and a half on Route 160 past Walmart. You can reach him also on the web at westplainspawn.com. Ozark Mountain Self-Reliance. Half-mile east of Walmart at Route 62 in Mountain Home. You can find them on the web at ozarkmtnselfreliance.com. And you can call them at 870-492-4030. My friend Mary over at Chantilly's Artisan Bakery, the best damn bakery in 100 miles. She can be reached at 417-255-2253. You can also find her at number 2 Evans Arcade. Outstanding bakery. Bill Stone over at Stone Construction at 2930116. Whether remodeling, building new, or doing some kind of custom construction like commercial or farm work, Bill's the guy for you. 2930116.
Breakfast is the most important meal of the day, and the Donut Palace is open at 5 a.m. every day.
The best donuts made fresh daily like Long John's, Eclairs, Bear Claws, and old-fashioned donuts. Try a hot and fresh bacon, egg, and cheese croissant or a kolache sandwich for breakfast and pair it up with some Starbucks coffee.
Start your morning right with the Donut Palace. And for the busy people, the drive-thru can get you your order even quicker. Located at 914 Broadway in West Plains, the Donut Palace, where the customer is still king. Weather sponsorships are now available on News Talk 107.1 The Point. Get more information, email info@diamondmediaradio.com for complete details.
From the Point Weather Center for this morning, we have a very good chance of showers and thunderstorms mainly after 8 o'clock, patchy fog before 10, otherwise mostly cloudy skies with a high near 57 degrees. I'm Dawn James, and for more information, visit my1071thepoint.com.
The area's best selection of firearms, ammunition, and accessories can only be found at West Plains Pawn and Jewelry, your Class 3 dealer for automatic weapons and suppressors, including Gemtech and Huntertown, with a great selection of holsters, slings, magazines, and gun storage options. West Plains Pawn and Jewelry will also do special orders. With new arrivals every week, the area's best selection of firearms, ammunition, and accessories can only be found at West Plains Pawn and Jewelry, 1713 West U.S. Highway 160, or shop online at westplainspawn.com.
I got this question to ask.
All right, we are returning. You are listening to America's Voice Now. I would like to encourage you, by the way, again, if you're interested in participating in that concealed carry course today or the reloading course, if you want the concealed carry course, you can get there by simply going to, I apologize, not going to, but calling. Where's my keypad here? 270-1053. And you'll get directions. That is going to be held on Washington Avenue here in West Plains, the class portion of it. Then you'll go out to a range and you'll do your pow, 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 and you'll get your little happy certificate. Then you can go down to the Missouri driver's license place and hand in your permit and your your birth certificate, and then don't allow them to scan them because they send them to Morpho Trust, where they're building an international database on every American citizen. Insist that they give you a written refusal to provide your driver's license because you refuse to allow them to scan your documents, and then you too can be embroiled in a lawsuit with the state, which is about to become class action, I would imagine, at this point. So
I have a question about that. It's like the government wants to make sure that they really positively identify people that are driving motor vehicles on the state's roadways.
Right.
And then the government really wants to make sure that they positively identify people that are carrying concealed weapons. All right? Kind of makes sense, all right?
Sure.
All right?
No, it doesn't make sense, but okay.
All right. Why does the government not want to positively identify people that step up to do the most important civic function that citizens do? Why is it that the government doesn't want to positively identify people that vote?
Very good question. Well, the answer to that would be that the vast majority of those people who don't want to be identified are also voting for those self-same people. So,
things that make you go,
what you have is a scenario where government wants to identify those people who are truculent. Here's a good word.
Ooh, you don't get to use that word very often.
No. And if you are truculent, and you are that mean in this case the true context of that would be uncooperative, then they would like to have an opportunity to identify who you are so that they can basically oppress you. Whereas if you are just here illegally, as long as you vote for them, they really don't give a damn. Go ahead, caller. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, I sat in the ID license office all day Monday, and something to add to it. You can't wear your glasses when you have your pictures taken anymore.
Yeah, you know why? Because they're doing facial recognition.
And the eyeball thing.
Which is against the law.
Well, what I was told was, no, that's not it. It's because it distracts the camera if you have earrings or glasses or something. I said, good excuse.
It distracts the camera?
Yeah, it confuses the camera.
So now we have sentient cameras. No, what it does is, here's the problem. It actually puts... when you do facial recognition, what it does is it takes a picture of the face, and then they assign mathematical points to it so that your face becomes nothing more than a mathematical equation. And that's how they arrive at facial recognition, because everyone's face has a different mathematical equation. And glasses affect that mathematical equation. And they want to be able to take that mathematical equation. Once they have the equation of you without glasses, they can apply that mathematical equation even if you are wearing glasses, but it doesn't work as well the other way around.
Well, you know that, and I know that, but the people that are handing these licenses out at the license bureaus don't know that.
Well, guess what? We're not the only ones who now know that. Everybody listening to this show now knows that.
Thank you.
Is that new math?
That's facial math.
Facial math. All right. Is that another new math? I didn't do good with the old math.
Okay. Have a good day.
Thank you, sweetheart. Love you. She is a firebrand. She has been going down to these motor vehicle departments and making herself known and heard, and they don't like her. Which means I like her just because they don't. She is the most on fire patriot on this real ID thing.
Is she being truculent?
She is. She's being obstinate too.
Something to which we should all
aspire.
Correct.
Absolutely. Your job is to question authority, people. You know why? Because the authority that they exude and exert on you today actually has no basis in fact. What this is not authority for the benefit that we've given and delegated to our government. What this is, the kind of authority that they are looking at today, is the kind of authority that says, we're in control and you'll do what we tell you.
Okay, Mike, so once this information gets to these Morpho Trust people, okay, and they're all, on contract to the Department of Revenue folks to do this?
Morpho Trust is on contract to 50 out of the 50 states and the federal government.
Okay, then who, besides the state of Missouri, who is Morpho Trust sharing this information with? Do we know?
Yes. We do. And that's where the scary part comes in. This is where your hair stands on end. Morpho Trust and Safran, S-A-F-R-A-N, and Morpho is M-O-R-P-H, right? Morph, like morph.
Right.
Morpho Trust. This is an organization which is creating the driver's license. That's why they don't issue you your driver's license now. They mail it to you. Because what happens is they capture all this information, they scan your birth certificate, they scan your concealed carry permit, your social security card, blah, 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 blah. They submit all of this information to Morpho Trust.
Right.
Morpho Trust then produces the driver's license ID with an RFID card or chip in it, and which they're saying they're not using, but it's embedded in there anyway.
Now, is there any prohibition legally from Morpho Trust using this data for other purposes?
No, because with limits. But here's what they're doing. You're under Real ID. The premise of Real ID is this: one, that law enforcement can utilize Real ID to know anything about you that they need to right off the chip, the RFID chip in the card. Right? Missouri has passed a law that says you can't use the RFID chip. But that gold star, if you will, or that little gold chip that you see on driver's licenses on the 32 states that have agreed to basically enslave their citizenry.
The ones that drank the Kool-Aid?
The ones who drank the Kool-Aid. Those states are actually using that as your passport now to go to Mexico, Canada, the Caribbean, any of these nations that have an agreement with Morpho Trust. And so your driver's license is now your passport to travel internationally. And guess what happens when you travel internationally? Your information is shared with foreign governments.
Sweet.
Hello.
Nice. Yeah. Nice.
So you know what this is? This is the precursor to the global ID.
Oh, my gosh. Look, I'm just going to be a citizen of the state of Missouri.
There you go.
And I'm just going to be a citizen of the United States of America, except that I think that the United States of America that I want to be a citizen of
is no longer here.
Yeah, quit existing a few decades ago. Yeah. I was busy working when this happened. And
actually, it was before you were born.
Was it?
Yeah.
That long ago?
Mm-hmm.
Like World War I or?
1934, to be precise.
Oh, my God.
We went bankrupt. We incorporated the United States.
So I've been living in a dream world. In other words, I've been living in something that I thought existed, but it really didn't. But my parents thought it existed.
Think of it like the Matrix. And I mean that in all seriousness. In 1934, the United States went bankrupt. And when they went bankrupt, they created a corporation, and we took out... Did you know that we are operating under a permanent state of emergency and have been since 1934, that every president signs every year? We operate right now in a state of emergency.
Did we even do that when we got money back from the feds back during the Clinton administration?
No. Yes.
Bubba's administration?
Yes, every year we sign it. Here's the reason why. Under a continuing state of emergency, we are enabled to do whatever we want, because what happens is the United States of America, the way that we think of it today, is not the same United States of America that existed before. The United States of America that we operate today is a corporation, and we are all stock in that corporation.
Well, do you know...
Did you know your birth certificate has a QSIP number?
A who?
A QSIP number.
What the heck is that?
A QSIP number is what they use to buy and sell securities on the exchanges in Wall Street.
So I'm like a commodity?
Bingo. Actually, your production is.
Oh, my production is a
You
commodity.
are a value in your QSIP, based upon your QSIP number. You have a earning value, a production value.
You know, this is one of the arguments that used to be made about people in reference to slavery, was that slave owners didn't physically own the bodies of their slaves, but they owned the labor and the production of their slaves.
Yeah, and that's why the 14th Amendment's real motivation and purpose was not to free the slaves, but to enslave everyone. Go read it again. I challenge you on this commercial break. I'm telling you right now. Caller, can you hold on until this break is over?
Yes, sir.
Sorry, we ran right over your phone call.
That's okay.
Hang on one second. Folks, we're going to take a quick break. It's 6:45, and when we return, we'll take this phone call and any others. If you'd like to call us, you can give us a shout on the Wits End Classic Barbershop hotline at 417-257-1111, Or if you are out in the hinterlands, you can call us at 866-554-6636. Again, that's 417-257-1111 and 866-554-6636. We'll be right back.
Napa Auto Parts in West Plains has this breaking news announcement. If you've got a British car and it quits, if you've got a Japanese car and it quits, if you've got a German car and it quits, come into Napa Auto Parts in West Plains, right across from the Civic Center. They speak automobile fluently. Yes, they do. And may be able to help you find the right parts to bring your car new life. Call ahead to reserve parts, 256-0131, or stop by 311 St. Louis Street, across from the Civic Center.
Hi, I'm Scott Corman, President of Community First. We want to be your bank. We believe in the strength of our communities, businesses, families, and future. We're not just locally owned, but community owned. And we operate today just as we started, by living up to our name, putting you and our communities first.
Living up to our name, community first, banking company.
Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
There is this product on Amazon that is simply going crazy. The banana slicer, almost 2,500 consumer reviews. I've been trying to come up with an ideal way to slice a banana. Use a knife, they say. Well, my parole officer won't let me around knives. Or how about this one? What can I say about the banana slicer that hasn't already been said about the wheel or penicillin? Obviously, just a pure hoax.
Saturdays noon to 3 and weekdays at 7:35 for your Digital Minute. It's Kim Commando on the Ozarks Best News Talk 107.1.
We're here today to ask people about marriage.
For starters, what's the best thing about being married?
Who I get to stay married to.
Togetherness.
Having a companion.
Do you think your marriage is good for more than just the two of you?
Oh, sure, and it'll affect generations after us.
The energy we give out in our home, I think, spreads out to other people.
Sort of stabilizes your whole community. It's a cornerstone of a society, right?
Want to improve your marriage? For ideas, go to foryourmarriage.org. A message from the Catholic Church.
All right, we are returning. Going to invite this caller to have his moment in the sun. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Mike.
How are you?
I'm great. I'm above ground.
That's right. Every day above ground is a good day, right?
Yes, sir. And I'd like to let the listeners know a couple things. And one is the power of compounding mathematics.
Yeah.
Here's the example, and I've done it with the calculator. If 5 people tell 5 other people of something, the total is 25 people informed.
Right.
If those people inform somebody, it's 125 people. And you do this 11 times, and this is astounding, you have informed 9,765,625 people have been informed if everybody stays true to the 5.
Right.
That's amazing. That's 11 times. If you go about 16 times, you come out with 30 or 40 trillion.
Yeah. I mean, people don't realize the power of compounding, but you're absolutely correct. I wish we could compound. I wish we could compound, 20 or 30 patriotic legislators we have in this country, and before you know it, we'd have our country back.
That's what I'm pointing out to everybody is that with this idea of what they're trying to do to them, if you tell 5 other people, they tell 5 other people, the state of Missouri population is only 5 million people. You've done twice the state.
Yep.
So they can't plead ignorance. And you can't say,
well, with all due respect, they can't plead ignorance anyway. Anybody trying to plead ignorance at this point is either a liar or is completely vacant in their gray matter. So.
And the second point being is you talked about that modern farming bill they're passing.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you need to pay very close attention.
Are you talking about the Monsanto bill, or are you talking about the constitutional amendment thing that they're trying to pass?
Well, the one where they say, they at the very end of it, it says that no legislation shall be enacted unless started by the legislature.
Right, which is no law at all. That's like saying, well, we know that, duh.
Well,
I agree. Let me tell you something about that whole amendment. If they will not change that to take out the language, and first of all, actually, I'll tell you something. I don't think the thing is salvageable, so just vote no on it. And I'm going to start telling people to vote no on it right now, because here's the deal. What that is another buy-off from Monsanto and their ilk. What that really is this. They're trying to give the agri giants an opportunity to have unlimited ability to do pretty much whatever the hell they want to us. And the simple truth is, like everything else, including this food assurance bill they just passed, which gave Monsanto complete immunity from federal prosecution, even if their product proves to be dangerous. This is a similar thing, but it's gonna put it into our state constitution. No, thank you.
But here's the very, very important part, was the latter part. If this passes, they just nullify ballot initiative by the voters. No law can go into effect unless the legislature enacts it.
Right. And essentially, by doing that, what they're saying is that the legislature has a sovereignty over the people. You're absolutely correct.
But we're missing that by going against Monsanto, and the true deal of the bill is to take away the voters' power of the ballot initiative, and then we're dictated to. We're not represented.
Right.
We can't do nothing. But I wanted to point that out to everybody, that they're getting us all focused on Monsanto, and the real deal is that they're going to nullify us, so it don't matter what we do, we ain't got a chance.
Well, that is the game plan, and at this point, their focus and goal would be to try to do it with our unwitting knowledge and approval, right? Because most people don't realize that by doing stuff like that, they're actually agreeing and putting themselves in a position where they're agreeing to allow their sovereignty. I mean, look, you can waive your rights. You can waive your rights. You can say, yep, I have the right to privacy, but I'm going to allow you to search my car anyway. You can say, I have the right to privacy, but I'm going to let you come into my house and search it anyway. You can say, I have the right to keep my mouth shut and not testify against myself, but you can waive that right and do that.
Yeah, I've got a rule of thumb on that. If they got to ask, they can't do it.
Yep, well, there you go. I mean,
they wouldn't ask for your permission. If they could do it, they would do it.
Yeah, but don't rely on that as the sole determining factor, and I'll tell you why. There's a lot of things that they won't ask you about that they can't do either. So I think your point is simply this, and I agree with it. Right now, the way that this constitutional amendment, that this has been written and proposed and submitted by Jason Smith, and it's making its way with lightning speed through the legislature. Isn't it amazing, by the way, that this thing, which is against the small farmer, is making its way through the legislature like poop through a goat, but we cannot get something like the Firearms Protection Act passed, which, I mean, is basically a nullification statement against federal laws of intrusiveness on our Second Amendment rights. So you got to go figure, right? This thing has been in play. The constitutional amendment on this farmer thing has been in play for less time than the Second Amendment issue, and it's further along in the process. That ought to tell you an awful lot.
Yeah, if it passes, we're shackled. We're
shackled anyway. The question is, are we going to allow them to continue to keep ratcheting down the chains until we can no longer get our wrist out through the hole?
I understand, sir.
Hey, listen, I appreciate your call. Thank you so much. Wisdom just was shown here, my friend. Thank you. Okay, folks, so when we come, we're going to take a break in about 5 minutes. When we come back, Sherry Willis from the Half Pint Homestead is going to join with us, and she's going to kind of give us an update on this product that she has invented, which I am really, truly fascinated and impressed with. I've actually seen it, and she has a website, which I'll give you the information for. It's called half-pinthomestead.com. It's half, like you spell the word HALF, dash, and put a hyphen in there, pint, P-I-N-T, like a pint of beer, homestead.com. And I encourage you to get out there and see that website, because when Sherry comes on with us, she'll be able to give us some insight as to a little bit about the product and so forth. This is an amazing success story, people, because what's happened is she started building these things as recently as November and has now actually been forced to quit her job, and she is selling them in 48 out of the 50 states and I think about, 10 countries or something. 5 or 10 countries. Anyway, the upshot is you're going to be blown away by this little product. It is an outstanding opportunity. And by the way, if this doesn't show the creativity and ingenuity of Americans, I don't know what does. So it's important that you be here for this section. And then at our 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock segment, Marjorie Wildcraft will be here. And you can find her website at marjoriewildcraft.com. And then you can also find her other website at growyourowngroceries.com. She has a book out there, a DVD series out there that teaches you how to basically turn your Missouri stones into garden soil. So one other quick point I want to make before the break. If you are planning on attending either the concealed carry classes that are going off today or the upcoming reloading class, then you make sure that you are, if you're going to do the concealed carry, I'm going to give you a phone number right now. It's 270-1053. 270-1053. Now this class is going to meet here in West Plains at 9 o'clock. So that's why I'm telling you now. It's a few minutes before 7. That means get your hiney in the shower and get yourself down here to West Plains. Where you're going to go is on Washington Avenue at the Ozarks Hospital, or the Ozark Medical Center Foundation building. They have a building there where they rent out a room and people can rent it and do different events. They're going to hold the classroom portion there, and then they're going to go down to a range. If you have your own gun, the cost is going to, and ammunition, the cost is going to be $50. If you don't have your own gun, he'll let you use his for $10 more. Wow. $60 will get you your concealed carry certification, and with or without your own gun. If you bring your own, by the way, you're going to need about 140 rounds. And you can bring a .22. It doesn't have to be, but you do need a semi-automatic and a revolver because that's the way that the law reads. You got to do X hours of classroom time, X rounds on the range. You got to prove that you can actually hit the target and that you're not going to, shoot the guy standing behind the guy. So yeah, $60, $50 if you're going to take the $50 if you're going to use your own gun, $60 if you're going to use his. So anyway, 270-1053 is the number for you to call if you want more information on that. And we're running out of time, so you're going to have to make a decision quickly. The other class that we're going to have today is our reloading class, and that's going to be held on Bill Verdon Boulevard in the Eastgate Village strip mall, and that's where Heroes Coffee is and places like that. It's down by the Catholic Church. So if you're planning on going to that, you're going to have to, let's see, I'm going to have to give you a phone number for that. I'll give you a phone number after the break on that one. That is $100. Again, it's an all-day course, and you will learn how to reload metallic cartridges, which is an invaluable asset to you right now. So the only things that you have to bring with you are, of course, $100, a notepad, a pen. I prefer that you bring a highlight marker or some way that you can take notes, and you can show up for that class, bring $100 with you, prepare to be there for the day, bring a bottle of water or something so that you're comfortable, and educate yourself, then use that education to inform others in your circle of influence, motivate yourself and others, and then take action. Today, folks, that's the action part. Okay, we're going to take a break. When we return, I will be more than happy to introduce you to Sherry Willis from Half Pint Homestead, and I think you'll enjoy her presentation and her product. We'll be back in just a moment.
From West Plains, Missouri, it's KBMV Birch Tree, the Ozarks' best news talk.
Fox News Radio. I'm Chris Foster. President Obama using his weekly message to send Easter and Passover greetings to Americans who celebrate either.
In the midst of all our busy and noisy lives, these holy days afford us the precious opportunity to slow down and spend some quiet moments in prayer and reflection.
For the Republicans, Nebraska Congressman Terry Lee calls for approval of the Keystone XL pipeline to bring oil from Canada to refineries in Texas.
Keystone will create roughly 20,000 new jobs related to the construction of the pipeline and it'll create another 118,000 jobs downstream.
The pipeline would run through his state, Nebraska. No evidence it's anything but talk, but North Korea is threatening retaliation against any provocation by South Korea or the United States.
Recent military exercises involving South Korean and U.S. forces, including the use of nuclear-capable B-52 and B-2 bombers, were seen by Pyongyang as provocative, prompting language which suggests imminent war. And yet sources speaking to Sky News from Pyongyang suggest that life is continuing as normal.
Sky News Asia correspondent Mark Stone. 2 little boys in Washington state are now facing trial for planning to commit murder.
Declared fit to stand trial in juvenile court, the boys, ages 10 and 11, will be tried on charges that they conspired to kill a female classmate. Stevens County prosecutor Tim Rasmussen says a handwritten note detailing their plans was submitted as evidence against them at Friday's mental competency hearing. The pair were arrested in early February when a schoolmate reported he saw one of the boys playing with a knife on a school bus. A search of the backpack also turned up a .45 caliber semi-automatic pistol and ammo. The boys, who pled not guilty, are being held on a $100,000 bond each.
That's Karen McHugh, and you're listening to Fox News Radio. Fair and balanced.
There's more to Fox News Radio than meets the ear. Go behind the headlines and join the conversation on the hottest stories of the day on the Fox News Radio Facebook page. Be a part of the Fox News Radio Facebook fan community. Post comments and tell us your opinions. See behind-the-scenes photos and videos and post your reactions to the stories that matter to you. Click the like button on Facebook and connect with breaking news and features like Fox in the Fast Lane, House Call for Help, and more. Go to Facebook.com/Fox News Radio.
Weeknights, we're busting out a brand new lineup. First, market fraud, government abuse, corruption. At 5, nothing's off limits on money with Melissa Francis. Then, from bloated bank fees to consumer scams. At 6, Jerry's exposing the issues impacting your wallet. Plus, get smart market insight and trusted analysis you won't find anywhere else. At 7, Lou Dobbs is all business. And the first and last name in business, Cavuto. Shedding light on the biggest stories making headlines at 8. Only on the Fox Business Network, giving you the power to prosper.
I know what you're thinking, Bunk. You're thinking, did he fire 6 shots or only 5?
Dirty Harry gets all his ammo from the battery station. John Rambo, you guessed it. He gets his ammo from the battery station, too. So if you need ammo, go to the place where the guys who know about ammunition go, the battery station. They have one of the largest supplies of ammunition in the area. So make sure you're stocked up and don't get low on shells. Go to the battery station at 303 Washington Avenue in West Plains.
At American Family Insurance, we believe your farm is more than a business. It's your livelihood and your American dream, which is why you deserve the best farm insurance available. Let Barb Middleton show you the options available to protect your farm with your farm personal property coverage to cover your animals, feed,